Hello and welcome to Absolute Trust Talk. This is our Facebook Live version of our podcast here at Absolute Trust Counsel. And I'm Kirsten Howe, the host of Absolute Trust Talk. And welcome. I'm glad you're here today with us. I'm going to be talking to Larry Toy of Lamorinda Village, and I'll introduce him formally in just a minute. I just want to let you know what we're going to be talking about. There are lots of really nice senior living communities in our area, but almost every senior that I've ever talked to would prefer to stay in their own home as long as they possibly can. And sometimes as we get older, we need assistance in order to do that. And that assistance doesn't always mean, personal caregivers. It might be something as simple as, I can't do all my household chores anymore. I need someone to come help me clear the gutters, or I need someone to change those light bulbs over the staircase that I can't reach without getting on a ladder, and I don't want to do that anymore. That's the kind of thing that just can make all the difference in the world, and that's where a village can come in. And so we're going to be talking today about the big concept of villages generally, and specifically the Lamorinda Village, which is where my guest is speaking from. But before we get to that, of course, I have to go through a couple of housekeeping things very quickly. First of all, we are recording this. So if you're watching live and you want to watch it again, you can go to our website, absolutetrustcounsel.com. It'll be up there in a few days. You can also tell your friends about it and they can watch it. It will also be an audio, just a pure audio podcast, again, on our website, absolutetrustcounsel.com, but also wherever you get your podcasts. I get mine on my iPhone. Just click that purple icon and there you go. Also, we will be taking questions from our live viewers. So if you're watching us live and you have a question, you can go ahead and type it in that comment area on Facebook, and I will ask Larry your questions when we get sort of to the end of the episode. If you're not watching live, you're listening, you can't ask a question, but you can listen to the questions and the answers. Okay, so enough housekeeping. Today, we are talking to Larry Toy about Lamorinda Village, which is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to build a community that enhances the lives of its senior members through a variety of programs and services, which we'll hear about in a few minutes from Larry. He is Larry, who is the president and on the board of directors of the Lamorinda Village. He's formerly a professor of astronomy, so he's very smart, well-educated man. And he was the founding president and CEO of the Foundation for California Community Colleges. Larry, welcome, and thank you so much for being here today with us. I'm really looking forward to talking to you.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Okay, well, let's just start by explaining to our listeners, if you would, the concept of the village and maybe a little bit of its history.
Yes, back not quite 20 years ago, a group of neighbors in the Boston area, namely Beacon Hill area of Boston, decided that they wanted to figure out a way so that they could stay in their own homes as long as they wanted to. And they came up with the idea of helping each other. And this was the genesis of the village. And the basic idea is to have people who are in need of help to stay in their own homes, being helped by people who could volunteer to help them in a variety of ways. So that's how the idea of a village started. And this idea spread around the country. There are about 400 villages across the country right now. And we started in the Lamorinda area, Lafayette, Orinda, and Moraga, and officially started 6 years ago. And the idea, again, is we have one paid person, and we have about 200 volunteers who serve our 200 plus members. And the volunteers can also be members. So certain volunteers who are still very able to do things can help members who are not so able.
Okay. And here in the Bay Area, we have have had a number of villages in addition to the Lamorinda village. So what are the territories for, I'm guessing there are geographic areas
Yes.
that you cover. What do you cover in Lamorinda, and what are some of the other villages around
Yes.
the Bay Area?
There are about 25 or 30 villages in the Bay Area. However, in Contra Costa County, we're the main village covering central Contra Costa County. We're, as the name says, we're Lafayette, Moraga, and Orinda. And we also cover adjacent areas which are contiguous to us. For example, we have about 20 members who live in Rossmore.
Okay.
And then we have also people who live in Walnut Creek on the edges of Lafayette. And we also have a few other people who are nearby. Basically, the constraint we have is where can our volunteers go? And
Sure.
they probably don't want to go up to Concord or down to Danville. But we do have a couple of people who live in Alamo, and we have one actually person who lives near the border of Orinda and Berkeley, who actually lives in Berkeley.
Okay, so those people might be willing to volunteer out that way.
Right, and the only other village in, excuse me, in the general area is in Clayton Valley, which also covers parts of Concord.
Okay, I didn't know there were so many villages in the Bay Area. I knew that there was Clayton, and I knew there's one in Berkeley. I just had no idea there were that many. That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, there are, I think, 7 villages in Marin County, and we go all the way up, and I'm considering the greater Bay Area, so we are talking people who are up in Santa Rosa down to Monterey. So it's the greater Bay Area.
Yeah. The 9 counties plus. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Still, that's quite a bit. That's impressive. That village concept has really blossomed in the 20 years since it was created. Well, so tell us a little bit about the programs that you have at Lamorinda that focus on assistance with specific tasks.
Yes, we have a large number of volunteers, and before COVID, we had a very popular program was helping people drive. As we get older, a lot of people either stop driving or they don't drive at night or they don't like to drive in crowded conditions. And so we have drivers who help them, and they don't even just drop them off. They could actually go in and stay with them during the shopping. In some cases, sometimes they help them with the errand, and in some cases, it's taking them to a doctor and waiting during the appointment so that they get the same ride back. So those are some of those kinds of activities. Then we have people who actually visit people's homes. Right now, we're mostly doing outside work. We have Boy Scouts who go out and help you clean up your yard, and particularly these days with the problems of potential fires, there's a lot more work that you do in the yard, cleaning your gutters, doing other work around the outside. And we're starting to resume handyman work, where people come in, help you fix your screen door, or in some cases do more work, as you said, change light bulbs, but then do some light plumbing. We had a problem with our plumbing, and our handyman came out, volunteer, and in about
fixed it up.
5 minutes, he figured out what was wrong and fixed it. He's a retired mechanical engineer, so he also can do a lot of handyman work too.
Interesting. Okay, so the chore kind of things around the house have been focused on outdoors, but now you're starting, because people are getting vaccinated and all of that, you're starting to be able to go into the houses again. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had volunteers. We had a doctor volunteer to go into a person's home and give them flu vaccine, for example,
Okay, sure.
where they were homebound. And we've also have people who do reading for people whose eyesight is not so good, so they've been reading newspapers for them, walking their dogs occasionally, taking them, very commonly taking them for walks in the neighborhood where they're mobility limited or vision limited. They want to go out and walk, and they don't have someone.
They need a companion to take them with them when they go walking. Yeah,
Right,
that's nice.
right.
And I really like what you said about your volunteers can come from kind of anywhere. You mentioned that you have Boy Scouts who
right. We
volunteer.
We have a lot of our activities during COVID have focused around shopping, and we have quite a few mother-daughter teams who go out shopping, and they do the deliveries. And it's an organization called the National Charity League, which is mothers, and usually starting with daughters who are maybe 8 or 10 years old, all the way up through teenagers, and they do things together, and they do charitable work together, and they have chosen Lamorinda Village as one of the activities they do, and we have them. A lot of them do shopping, delivery, not just of groceries, but they also at Christmas time they made little miniature Christmas trees and gave all our members little Christmas trees. And sometimes you get cookies for your birthday, and very, very nice things.
Oh, so there are other nonprofits that help your nonprofit by supplying volunteers.
To volunteers, right?
That's very nice. I like that. I like that mother-daughter shopping team idea. That's right. very sweet. It's a good way to kind of groom the children to be charitably inclined and help out.
Exactly. And we have a father-son team, a teenage son, and they clean gutters for our members. Now, for shopping, for example, we started this just as COVID, the shelter in place started, and particularly for people who are members of Lamorinda Village, we're the age group where we were the most susceptible. And so people really were not wanting to go out.
Afraid to go shopping.
So we've done over, I think at last count, we were over 1,500 shopping trips that we've done in the last year for our members. And that's been very good. And we also do check-in calls. We've done, I think, 2,500 check-in calls. Again, weekly check-in calls for the members who would like to talk to somebody, also just to see how they're doing,
Well,
which is a very important thing.
Okay, and so related to that, I mean, I think that also, in addition to helping people with tasks, chores, errands, that kind of thing, the village is also good about and concerned with, helping combat social isolation. I don't know why I can't say that word. Social isolation. And so I know that you and I talked about during the COVID times, you developed a lot of online programs for kind of that purpose. You want to talk about some of those things?
Yes, actually, when we started, we thought the major problems were related to needing a little help around the house. But in actuality, the major problem that most villages have found, and we certainly have found, is the problem of social isolation. And as you get older, our average age is in the early 80s is our average age of our members. And you start losing your friends. They move away or they pass away. And you where you might have had a vibrant community of friends when you were younger, they slowly are gone. And so, and you also are not as mobile and not able to go out and go to friends who are not nearby. So we have had, and we're starting to resume some in-person activities. But when the COVID crisis hit, we switched to Zoom, and we do about 25 Zooms a month. We do activities for our members, general uh, friendly chats that we have with people who want to join in. And we also have talks that we arrange for people that our members know. And we've had many famous professors at UC San Francisco and UC Berkeley talk to us. And we had a daughter who's of one of our members who's a professor at Stanford who just gave a talk. And we're having a talk tomorrow on snow leopards from one of our members' sons, who's a professor in I think in Montana, who studies snow leopards. So those are enlightening, but also promote the social interactions. We also have a weekly chair yoga class and a weekly meditation class, and we have monthly baking classes so that people actually bake online with a cordon bleu chef who's one of our volunteers. So we've done a lot of things to try and get people to come out of their shells. Sometimes they are self-imposed shells, and it's a community not just of help but of friendship.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I imagine that maybe some of your Boy Scouts or people in that age demographic-ish have been called upon to help some of your members with that Zoom.
Yes, we actually have
You have
a group
IT support. Yeah.
we have a group from Miramonte High School, their Interact Club, who volunteers to do help. My wife gets a weekly tutoring on her computer from a senior at Miramonte, and so that's been very helpful.
Nice.
They know more about computers than we certainly do,
Yeah.
and they can fix things very easily where we have real trouble.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, iPhones are a mystery to most of us, and they can do lots of things.
Yeah, that's their third hand is their iPhone
Yeah.
in that age group.
Yeah. One thing I would like to mention, Kirsten, is that in Lamorinda particularly, but in this general area where your audience is we've had a lot of issues with fires, potential fires and real fires, and potential power outages and real power outages.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the areas that we've tackled. We've given talks about the new rules about vegetation, and also having some help from our volunteers. But also we were able to get a grant from one of our family foundations who provided funds so that every member has a go bag. And so we start them out not just with instructions that you should have a go bag, but with the basic ingredients that you have a go bag. And every member, if you join Lamorinda Village, you get a go bag. We also have contracted with a local company in Danville who provides backup power supplies. And so we've given, I think, about 20 or so of our members have bought backup power for them, for their homes, powering their refrigerators or essential things for their when we lose power, which seems to be now an annual or sometimes more often ritual.
Yeah, something we definitely have to anticipate. You got to adapt, and it sounds like the Lamorinda Village really does a good job of that. Before we go to audience questions, and we do have some, and I'm going to talk to us about. Just tell us how to find the Lamorinda Village, how people can get involved, how can they join?
Right now, we are a membership organization. We are a nonprofit, and so we have a membership dues that our members pay. It's about $1 a day, so it's about $30 a month for individual and $50 a month for a couple, and that gives you all the services of all our volunteers, and pays for most of our operations. Are actually about 40% of our budget is paid for by our membership dues,
Okay.
and 60% is paid for by donations.
Okay.
So many of our members, about 70% of our members, also donate, and that basically keeps us alive. We're, as I said, we are a nonprofit, so we don't make money, but we do have one employee, one full-time employee, and we have she has a team of, I think now 9 office volunteers who help her do all the things.
Okay.
And we also have a very complex, very wonderful computer system, so that when you call up and need help, it goes into our system and automatically sends a message out to the volunteers who volunteer in that particular area. And then the first person who picks up that job, then it gets into the system and it gets done. So we are available. Our website is www.lamorinda.village, just one word, lamorinda.village.org. Okay. And we also have, you can email us if you want to volunteer or want information on how to join, info at lamorinda.village.org. And our phone number is 925-283-3500, and you can leave a message or someone may pick it up.
Okay, well, great. There certainly are lots of volunteer opportunities and membership opportunities, so that's how you get a hold of them. Okay, so I am going to look at the questions that we've got from our viewers. Well, one of the questions is, how much does it cost to be a member? And I think you just mentioned that.
Right.
Yeah.
$30 a month or $50 for a couple.
Great. Yeah. Okay. And you can do monthly. You can do it month by month.
Yeah, you can pay it by credit card monthly if you want, or pay the whole dues. Oh yes, and we also have a significant fund for helping people who cannot afford membership. Okay. So if you can get a discounted membership that's subsidized by we have the Rotary Club. One of the Rotary Clubs helps subsidize memberships, and also a couple of the community foundations, Lafayette and Orinda community foundations, help us.
Yeah. Once again, nonprofit helping nonprofit.
Right. Exactly.
I really love that. It's fantastic. Okay. So another question from a viewer: how do you start a village?
Yes, we can help you start a village. It does take usually a person who's really interested, and there is a national organization which has templates and the information to become a village, and Lamorinda Village has helped other villages get started too. It's not a difficult process technically, but it does take perseverance, because you want to build the local community, and that's very important. And so because there is no other village in central Contra Costa County other than us and Clayton Valley Village, which is quite small, I think it's ripe for having other villages.
So you hear that, Walnut Creek?
Walnut Creek actually tried to start one, and we'd like to see Walnut Creek get going again.
Succeed. Yeah. I think that would be great. There certainly is a community out there that could benefit
Right.
from it. So you've got volunteers. How do you vet the volunteers? I'm assuming that you
Yes,
make sure they're appropriate.
Yes, we do security checks on every volunteer. So that's part of the process that we have. And we also have for jobs that are beyond what our people can do, we have a list of preferred vendors who we have also vetted. And so we try to have a place where you can trust what the recommendations that you get, and also the people that come to your home.
That's so important. I think obviously feeling secure if someone's coming to your home, but also trusting the source, the resource. Elderly people get taken advantage of. And I think it's really important that they have a place they can go and say, hey, who do you recommend to come in and replace my kitchen sink or whatever? Yeah.
Right. And also, Kirsten, there is this major problem that we're seeing with cybersecurity, because and that's an area actually we're working on right now to help our members with a checklist, and not just a checklist, but really how to do it, how to freeze your credit accounts and so forth. Do things to make it safer for you. There are lots of areas where things that we should be doing but we aren't doing, and I know that in your practice you help a lot of your clients with these areas where I should have done that. Oh, it's on my list, but I haven't done it yet. And things like advanced directives are things we help our people for, end of life planning, understanding what hospice is about. We have one of our board members is the former president of the Hospice of the East Bay, and so we have a lot of expertise in that area to help them.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you were able to join us today. I think my clients, my audience needs to know about your organization, and I just can't thank you enough for sharing with us today.
You're very welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Larry Toy.
Okay.
And thank you all so much for watching and for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did, and I hope you learned something that's valuable to you. If you like our podcast, please go to iTunes and subscribe. Just type in the words Absolute Trust Talk, or you can type in my name, Kirsten Howe, and it will come up. Subscribing to our podcast helps us with whatever online SEO, I don't know what numbers that we get. It's just helpful to us to be able to spread the information that we have to a larger audience. And besides searching for us on iTunes, you can always go to our website. All of our past episodes are there. That's absolutetrustcounsel.com. There's a lot of really great information and a lot of other resources. So please don't hesitate to do that. Make sure to catch our next episode in a couple of weeks. And I know you'll get a lot out of that one too. I look forward to connecting with you next time.